many of you guys have been fishing or swimming in a lake, stream, or river in Iowa? Our water looks pretty disgusting, doesn't it? Today, I am going to talk about what makes our water look like weak chocolate milk and ways that we can do to prevent it. What we do here on land affects the water that flows through our rivers. The quality of our drinking water, the quality of our waterways affects our drinking water, river fishing, swimming, and even the water in the Gulf of Mexico. This past summer, I traveled around the state of Iowa, educating, researching, and learning more about watershed conservation. First thing we're going to talk about is watersheds. A watershed is an area of land that drains to a common body of water. So if everyone puts their hand out like a bowl, the tips of our fingers are going to be the church. And the palm of our hand is going to be the school. And down here in the middle is going to be a park with like a little stream flowing through it. When it rains over here on the church, that water is going to flow down into our palm of our hand into the river. And when it rains over here on the school, the water is going to go to the same place, a common body of water. And we can put two of our hands together to make an even bigger watershed. We can put all of our hands together and make an even larger watershed. Iowa is part of the Mississippi River watershed, which means that all of our water in Iowa, no matter where it rains, is going to end up in the Mississippi River and eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. The Mississippi River watershed, according to National Geographic, is the fourth largest in the world. On one side of the Mississippi River watershed, we have the Rocky Mountains, and on the other side, we have the Appalachian. As water moves across the land, it picks up these things called pollutants along the way. This is called non-point source pollution. The Iowa DNR says that non-point source pollution is the main problem with our water quality in Iowa. Some of the different pollutants we can find are sediment, which is a fancy word for soil, which is the #1 pollutant in Iowa. The second pollutant is trash. The next pollutant is nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. The next one is chemicals like pesticides that farmers spray on their fields to get rid of weeds and insects. The next one is kind of a 2-for-1 deal. If you get one, you get the other, and that is animal waste and bacteria. According to the EPA, 1 gram, which is this weight of a paperclip, of dog waste has about 23 million particles of bad bacteria. And the next one is oil. And the last one is personal care products, like medicine or shampoo and conditioner. Our bodies are not perfect machines. When we ingest pop or coffee or even medicine, our body does not use it all up. So when we use the restroom, that extra medicine and caffeine leaves the body with it. And when the water gets cleaned to go back into our water supply, it cannot get all of the medicine and caffeine out of the water. These pollutants in our waterways can have detrimental effects. It can cause more work to have to clean the drinking water, and it can cause algae blooms. This summer, we had a major problem with algae blooms in Iowa. In August, people took their dogs to the lakes to go swimming, and when they got done, within an hour, the dog would be dead. This is due to the blue-green algae blooms that we have in Iowa that is caused when nutrients get into our water. Pollution in our water can also have poor effects on fishing and swimming and can cause something called the hypoxic zone. Hypoxia is the lack of oxygen in the water. If there is no oxygen, no marine life can live there. This occurs when nutrient-rich water flows into the Gulf of Mexico, feeds the algae in the water. After the algae dies, bacteria eat the algae and depletes the water of oxygen, according to the Gulf of Mexico hypoxia research. In August of 2019, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the hypoxia zone was nearly 7,000 square miles. Think about the type of spring we had. Where did all of that water in Iowa end up? Do you think the water was polluted like this 200 years ago? This morning, I got into my time machine and I went to Iowa 1819 and took a water sample out of the English River. Iowa was just a mere tall grass prairie with not quite a lot of people living here. But as we have developed as a civilization, we have added some pollutants to our water. The first one I have is trash and sediment. The next one I have is oil, from maybe a leaky car or maybe gasoline from the gas station. The next one I have is animal waste and bacteria, specifically dog poop. Next one we have are our nutrients and chemicals. So the fertilizer farmers have put on the field, or maybe the pesticide homeowners sprayed on their lawn to get rid of dandelions. And the last one I have is personal care products like shampoo, conditioner, maybe the caffeine or the medication that we take. So now we look at our water. It's not very good. Now our water doesn't quite look like this, but it has all of these things in it. The nutrients, the chemicals, and the personal care products, we might not be able to see like we can the sediment, but it's still there. Gross water. Although the pollution that has already been done is hard to reverse, there are a few things that we can do to prevent further pollution of our waters. These are some of the things that we can do according to the EPA. For sediment, we can use cover crops, terraces, and no-till to keep our soil on our fields. For our trash, we can pick it up and continue to not litter. For nutrients, we can use some high technology such as bioreactors or saturated buffers. The Iowa Nutrient Reduction Strategy, according to ISU, seeks to reduce the flow of nutrients into the Gulf of Mexico in a scientific, reasonable, and cost-effective manner. The Iowa Nutrient Reduction Strategy works with farmers on ways to reduce nutrient loss, and that's through the saturated buffers, bioreactors, and cover crops. For chemicals, we can only apply the directed amount of chemicals, of pesticides, and we can watch the weather. It's not very smart to go out and spray thistles right before a rainstorm because once we spray, if it rains within the next 24 hours, it's just going to all wash off, and then you've wasted your pesticides, and it didn't do its job. For the oil, we can fix our leaky car, and for personal care products, we can be mindful of our usage. In summary, what is done here on land can have major effects on the quality of our water. The quality of our water affects our drinking water, recreation, and even the Gulf of Mexico. If we do not want our water to look like this, we need to take action. Once I read on Facebook, we do not need a few people doing conservation perfectly. We need everyone doing conservation imperfectly. Thank you.